Great. So today we're diving deep into DeepSeek R1.
Yeah.
This AI model.
Yeah.
It's making waves, and for good reason, right? I mean, it's not just like crunching numbers or spitting out code. It's aiming for something much deeper reasoning.
Yeah.
Like you and I do.
Exactly.
Imagine having an AI that could actually help you solve
Yeah.
those really complex problems you've been struggling with, whether it's in math or coding or even just understanding the nuances of language.
Absolutely. And DeepSeek R1 is designed to perform
Okay.
at the same level as some of the other leading AI models out there, like
Really?
OpenAI's O1 model.
Yeah.
So what's really exciting about this is that it achieves all of this while being open source.
Wait a minute, open source?
Yeah.
So you're saying that anyone can use this AI?
Yes, that's correct.
That seems like a pretty big deal.
It is a big deal.
Okay.
It's available under the MIT license, which means it's free to use, modify, even for commercial purposes. That accessibility can really shake things up in the AI world.
Yeah. No more like black
Yeah.
boxes. We can actually see how this thing works.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that makes DeepSeek R1 so fascinating.
Okay.
It's not just about the results, but it's about understanding that process.
Yeah.
The how behind the AI's reasoning.
I'm hooked, but let's get into like what it can actually do.
Okay, so think about the toughest challenges you face in your work. Maybe you're trying to optimize a complex algorithm, or maybe you're grappling with some really tricky coding problem.
Yeah.
DeepSeek R1 has shown it can tackle these kinds of challenges head on.
So it's delivering, it's not just theoretical,
It's not
it's
theoretical.
actually doing stuff.
It is. It's already achieving impressive scores on benchmarks like A, which is a very challenging math competition
Okay.
for high school students.
Wow.
It's also doing incredibly well on coding platforms like Codeforces, even surpassing many human participants in some cases.
Really?
Yes.
It's beating humans.
It is.
That's amazing.
It is.
Okay, so you mentioned reasoning earlier. Can you unpack that a little bit more? What does it mean for an AI to reason?
Sure. So think about it this way. When you're faced with a really complex problem, you don't just jump to a solution.
Right.
You break it down into smaller steps.
Right.
You look for patterns. You make logical connections.
Yeah.
That's what reasoning is all about. And that's what DeepSeek R1 is designed to do.
So it's like having an AI colleague
Yeah.
that can help you think through those tough problems step by step.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And that's where its ability to perform long-chain reasoning comes in. It can break down a complex problem into a series of smaller, more manageable steps, just like you would.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, some of this still sounds pretty technical.
Okay.
Let's talk about reinforcement learning, or RL.
Okay.
How does that play into all this?
Reinforcement learning is a key part of how DeepSeek R1 learns and improves.
Okay.
It's actually kind of like training a dog.
Ah.
You reward the dog for good behavior, and over time, it learns to repeat those actions.
Right.
In the same way, DeepSeek R1 is given feedback on its performance, and it uses that feedback to adjust its approach and get better at solving problems.
So it's learning by doing, making mistakes, and course correcting
Exactly.
along the way.
And what's even more interesting is that DeepSeek R1 can do this with less initial hand-holding than other models.
Interesting.
It can kind of explore and learn more independently.
That sounds like a big advantage,
It is.
especially when you're dealing with complex problems that don't have easy answers.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now I've also heard about this concept of model distillation.
Yes.
What is that?
So this is where it gets really clever.
Okay.
Think of it like taking all the knowledge and reasoning power of DeepSeek R1 and condensing it into a smaller, more efficient package.
So it's like creating a mini version of the AI
Yeah, like a mini version.
that can still perform at a high level.
Exactly. And that's really important because it makes the technology more accessible and applicable to a wider range of devices and platforms.
Okay.
Imagine being able to run this advanced reasoning power on your phone
Wow.
or even a simple embedded device.
Okay, that's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from open source to long-chain reasoning to model distillation.
We have.
It seems like DeepSeek R1 is pushing the boundaries of what AI can do.
It is.
But I'm curious about the journey. Like, how did this incredible AI come to be?
It wasn't all smooth sailing.
Oh, really?
The first version, DeepSeek R10, had some limitations.
Interesting.
It was brilliant in some ways,
Yeah.
but it struggled with things like readability and consistency in its language output.
Okay.
It was like
cool.
a super smart student who hadn't quite mastered the art of clear communication.
So it had the potential, but it needed some refining.
Exactly. And that's where the developers really focused their efforts with DeepSeek R1.
So what did they do? Was it just a matter of feeding it more data?
It was more nuanced than that.
Okay.
They started with what they called a cold start.
Okay.
Using thousands of high-quality examples to fine-tune the model.
Okay.
Then they incorporated something called reasoning-oriented RL, which encouraged the AI to not just find solutions, but to think logically and express its reasoning clearly.
Oh, so they're training it to be a better communicator.
Yes, exactly.
Show its work.
Show its work, yes.
Okay.
And they didn't stop there.
Okay.
They also used techniques like rejection sampling and SFT to generate new training data and further refine the model.
Okay.
Finally, they implemented full scenario RL to ensure the AI could perform well across a wide range of tasks, truly aligning with human expectations.
Wow, that sounds like a really comprehensive training process.
It was.
But I'm sure it paid off.
It did. And there's one more piece of the training puzzle worth mentioning.
Yeah.
The GRPO algorithm.
Okay.
This clever algorithm helps streamline the training process by comparing rewards across groups of outputs.
So that made the training more efficient.
More efficient and more stable.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting a real sense of like the dedication and ingenuity that went into creating this AI.
There was a lot.
But let's talk results.
Okay.
What are some of the standout achievements that really show DeepSeek R1's capabilities?
Well, we touched on its benchmark performance earlier.
Right.
But here's where it gets really impressive. In mathematics,
Okay.
it achieved a remarkable 79.8% pass rate on the AM 2024.
Wow.
And in coding, it scored an incredible 2029 on Code Forces.
Okay.
Which puts it ahead of 96.3% of human participants.
Wait, it's beating human coders.
In many cases, yes.
That's incredible.
And it doesn't stop there.
Okay.
It also excelled in knowledge-based tasks, achieving high accuracy on tests like MMLU, which measures multitask language understanding. And remember those distilled models we talked about?
Yeah.
Even those smaller versions are achieving incredible results, with one of them scoring 72.6% on the AM and 94.3% on Math 500.
Okay, this is officially blowing my mind.
Yeah.
But before we get lost in all the technical details, let's connect this back to like you, the listener.
Yeah.
Why should you care about DeepSeek R1?
That's the most important question.
Yeah.
The potential applications of this technology are vast, and they touch upon almost every field imaginable.
Yeah.
Think about your own work, your own challenges.
Right.
Could DeepSeek R1 help you analyze data more efficiently?
Yeah.
Could it help you automate complex tasks?
Yeah.
Could it even help you come up with new ideas and solutions?
Yeah, so it's almost like
The possibilities are endless.
the possibilities are endless.
And with DeepSeek R1 being open source, those possibilities are open to everyone.
Yeah. But I have a feeling we've only just scratched the surface here.
You're right.
There's so much more to explore.
Absolutely. We've laid the foundation, but there's a whole universe of potential waiting to be discovered, and that's what we'll dive into next.
All right, awesome. Sounds good. So we just kind of scratched the surface of what DeepSeek R1 can do. I'm ready to dive deeper into what this all means.
It's not just about like better performance or faster processing. It's like a fundamental shift in how we think about AI. We're moving from AI that just follows instructions to AI that can reason, learn, and adapt.
Much like we do.
Much like we do.
That sounds like a huge leap. Are we talking about moving away from AI that's like good at one thing to a more generalized AI that can tackle a whole bunch of different problems?
Precisely. DeepSeek R1 is a perfect example of this evolution.
Yeah.
It's not limited to just a single domain or task.
Okay.
It can reason across different areas, making connections and finding solutions that might not be obvious at first glance.
That's incredible. But it also kind of makes me wonder, as AI models become more powerful and more capable, how do we make sure that they're being used responsibly?
It's a very valid question, and one that is being discussed a lot in the AI community.
Okay.
We need to ensure that these systems are aligned with human values.
Yeah.
That means being transparent about how they work, ensuring that they're not biased in their decision-making, and holding developers accountable for their actions.
So it's a collective responsibility, not just for the people building the AIs, but for all of us.
Absolutely. And DeepSeek R1, with its open source nature, provides a really unique opportunity for this collaborative discussion and development.
Okay.
It allows anyone to contribute, to scrutinize the code, to ensure that it's being used ethically and for the benefit of humanity.
That's reassuring. It's not just some secret technology that's hidden away in a lab. It's out in the open for anyone to learn from and contribute to.
Exactly. It's democratizing AI, making it accessible to researchers, developers, and even everyday users who are curious about this technology.
We've been kind of focusing a lot on the technical aspects, but I'm also curious about the people behind DeepSeek R1.
Yeah.
What are their motivations? What drives them to push the boundaries of AI like this?
You're right. The human element is often overlooked behind every groundbreaking technology. There are brilliant minds driven by a passion to explore the unknown and create something truly remarkable.
Yeah.
In the case of DeepSeek R1, the team is a diverse group of researchers, engineers, and data scientists, all united by a shared vision of developing AI that can benefit society.
It's always inspiring to hear about the people who are driving these innovations. Were there any challenges or like aha moments that really stood out to you during the development process?
Well, one of the major hurdles they faced was overcoming the limitations of that initial DeepSeek R10 model.
Yeah.
It showed potential, but it struggled with readability and consistency in its language output.
Right.
Imagine a brilliant mind that couldn't articulate its thoughts clearly.
Right.
It was a frustrating but necessary step.
So how did they bridge that gap? What was the breakthrough moment?
They realized that simply throwing more data at the problem wasn't going to cut it.
Right.
They needed to develop new training techniques that would encourage the AI to not just find answers, but to express its reasoning in a clear and understandable way.
Okay.
This led to the development of reasoning-oriented RL, which incentivized the AI to explain its thought process, making it more transparent and relatable.
So it's like they were teaching the AI to think out loud to show its work, not just the final answer.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It was about making the AI's reasoning process accessible to humans,
Okay.
which is crucial for building trust and understanding,
Right.
and the results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
DeepSeek R1 can now not only solve complex problems, but also communicate its solutions in a way that's easy for humans to grasp.
It's truly remarkable. We've talked about the past and the present, but I'm curious about the future. What's next for DeepSeek R1? Where do you see this technology going?
Well, the beauty of open source development is that the possibilities are truly endless, with DeepSeek R1's code being freely available. Anyone can contribute to its evolution. We could see new applications emerge, new training techniques, and maybe even entirely new models built upon this foundation.
So it's like planting a seed and just watching it grow.
Exactly.
Into something bigger than we can imagine.
And who knows what amazing discoveries await us. Maybe we'll see DeepSeek R1 integrated into educational platforms, personalizing learning for each student.
Yeah.
Or maybe it will power the next generation of virtual assistants, capable of engaging in truly meaningful conversations. The possibilities are truly vast.
It's really exciting to think about the potential impact. But before we wrap up, I want to turn it over to you, the listener.
Yeah.
We've explored DeepSeek R1 from a lot of different angles.
We have.
But now we want to hear from you.
Yes. What are your thoughts on this AI? What excites you the most? What questions do you have? We'd love to continue the conversation in the comments or on social media.
Yeah.
After all, the future of AI is a shared journey, and your perspectives are invaluable.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the technical details to the wider implications of DeepSeek R1. I'm sure your mind is buzzing with ideas and questions just like mine. So let's take a moment to gather our thoughts, and we'll be back soon to wrap up this whole deep dive with some final reflections. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our DeepSeek R1 deep dive.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think about, like, all this stuff that we've covered, from how the model works to, its potential to reshape entire industries.
Yeah, it really highlights how fast things are moving in the world of AI.
Yeah, just a few years ago, like, the idea of an AI model that can reason, like DeepSeek R1,
Right.
it would have seemed like something out of a movie.
Yeah, it would have seemed impossible.
And yet here we are.
Yeah.
But even after everything that we've talked about, I'm still kind of struck by how this AI isn't just like copying human reasoning. It's like developing its own way of thinking.
Yeah, that's what makes it so fascinating. It's not just mimicking us. It's learning from all of the data that it's given and coming up with its own approach to problem solving.
Yeah, it's almost like watching a new form of intelligence kind of blossom right in front of us.
Exactly, and that's a powerful image.
Yeah, it makes me think that DeepSeek R1 isn't just a tool.
Right.
It's like a window into the future of intelligence itself.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's bring it back down to earth for a minute.
Okay.
For someone who's listening to this and maybe feeling inspired,
Right.
what would you recommend as a starting point for exploring DeepSeek R1 further?
Well, the great thing is that there's no one right answer. It really depends on what you're interested in and how you like to learn.
Okay.
if you're comfortable with code, the GitHub repository is a goldmine of information.
Okay.
You can dive into the source code, see how the model is built, and even experiment with modifying it yourself.
So that sounds like a good place to start for like the more technical folks.
Yeah, so technically inclined.
What about for those of us who maybe are a little bit more comfortable with a more, point and click kind of interface?
Yeah. Well, the DeepSeek website actually has a very user-friendly interface where you can interact with the model directly.
Oh, cool.
You can try out different tasks, you can see how it responds to different prompts, and just get a feel for what it can do.
So there's like an entry point for everyone.
There is.
Whether you're a coder or just a curious beginner.
Yeah, if you're just curious and want to get started.
But I imagine it can still be kind of overwhelming with how fast AI is moving these days.
It's true. Keeping up with AI advancements can be a challenge.
Right.
The key is to focus on what you're interested in and what your goals are.
Right.
What problems are you passionate about solving? How could DeepSeek R1's capabilities be applied to those areas?
Right.
Those questions will guide your exploration and help you cut through all the noise.
That's great advice. It's about finding that connection between what you're curious about and how this technology can be used.
Yeah. Find that intersection.
Yeah. And that brings us to the end of our DeepSeek R1 deep dive.
It has been a fascinating journey, exploring the technical details, the real-world applications, and the wider implications of this AI.
Yeah, and the future of AI is a journey we're all on together.
We are.
So as you go out and, you start exploring DeepSeek R1 and all these other advancements in AI, remember to share your thoughts, your questions, and your discoveries with the world.
Yeah, share with everyone.
Because the more we learn and the more we share, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this, really exciting new era of intelligent machines.
Absolutely. Keep those minds curious and keep exploring, and who knows what incredible breakthroughs await us just around the corner.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into DeepSeek R1.
It was my pleasure.